Welcome back to the Vet S.O.S podcast. Remember, don't drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline. Vet S.O.S is brought to you by the Who You Know Network and is a proud member of the Parade Deck community. We can also now be heard on Reese Across America Radio on Thursdays at 4 p.m. Eastern. You can find Reese Across America Radio on iHeart, Odyssey, and the TuneIn apps. I'm excited to have Dr. Stephen Crane with us today. Not only is he an awesome guy to talk to, he's also a super connector and co-founder of the Veteran Roadmap. We're definitely looking forward to jumping into this conversation. Can't wait to really outline what this Veteran Roadmap is. Keith, back in the jump seat again. How you doing today, man?
Living the dream. Can't complain too much. How you doing, Sean?
About the same. Trying to shake off the cobwebs from not taking a whole, month and a half, 2 months off.
You know, one bad foot apparently took you out for like a year, it seemed. So.
Have foot
I tell you, Intel guys, you get one little boo-boo and you take off running for a month.
I was on profile. Doctor said
I've got to convalesce. Exactly. Yeah. Malingering, more like it.
No interviews while on recovery from foot surgery. All right. So Dr. Stephen Crane, United States Marine Corps veteran, celebrated author, keynote speaker, and veteran advocate. Dr. Crane's remarkable journey with homelessness to becoming a thriving entrepreneur in just 5 years exemplifies his commitment to empowering veterans to break through their limitations. With over 2,500 hours dedicated to mentoring and advocating for veterans worldwide, Dr. Crane has delivered over $3.8 billion. Let me say that again, $3.8 billion in benefits to those who have served. His innovative programs and relentless drive make him an invaluable leader in the veteran community. Quite the intro. How you doing today, Stephen?
I'm doing well. Blessed and highly favored. How are you, Sean?
Oh, man. It is a good day. It is a good day. Always a good day when we get back on the air. So, all right, well, let's jump right into this with your transition. So tell us about your transition. And then from there, obviously, if you don't talk about the homelessness part, we'll jump into that a little bit too.
No, I think that's the highlight. That's the staple.
That's the highlight of the transition.
Is that homelessness. So at the end of my enlistment, obviously you have 3 different options that you can choose. You can either re-enlist, re-up, you can get out, or you can do a lat move. My job was trying to do a lat move. I was trying to go from legal admin, that side of the house, into actual field agents. So I was trying to go CID. I was trying to be a narc. I was trying to be the mission into CID, but you have to go through a medical evaluation, unlike anything else that we're used to. In the military, we always joke, and it's like, hey, you're wearing protection, you have your seatbelt on, you don't overdrink, you're good. All right, get back in there. And that's the medical evaluation that we're familiar with. But here, because this isn't a military evaluation, it's more of a federal law enforcement evaluation. It's a little bit different. So blood work, CT scans, MRIs, whole X-rays, you name it, psych evals, all that good stuff. I found out, I thought it was normal. Everyone's broken. And at least everyone that I served with was broken. So it was just the norm. I wasn't thinking anything of it. I thought I was good. They saw other. they said, yeah, you're a little too much broken for us. We're going to go ahead and deny this. Here's your package back. Best of luck. So I took that to the career planner and said, all right, what are my options? He said, brother, I don't know how to explain this, but your ship has already sailed. You put your eggs in the lat move basket. You can't extend, right? We're past that deadline. You're just going to have to get out. I said, well, wait a minute, hold on. If I got to prove to do my lat move, and now you're telling me I'm medically unfit and unqualified for duty, that's a medical retirement. I worked in legal. I knew this. So he was like, if you want to bark up that tree, go see the flight surgeon. So I pulled a Sean and I said, hey, my foot hurts. I need some
Wow, I'm getting slammed.
I went over to the flight surgeon and said, hey, doc, help me out here. I got denied. Can you, approve this medical retirement? He said, yeah, absolutely. Signed off on that, took that through career planner, and started the med board process. So med board process is 2 6-month stints. First 6 months, you try to get better. You live at medical. The goal is to either rehabilitate you and get you back into the fight, or 2, rehabilitate you enough so that the government doesn't look bad when they send a broken Marine back into the civilian sector. So that was me. I did my 6 months. Everything was going well, and I was going to start my next 6 months where you process out, go through TAP, and all that good stuff. Didn't happen. 3 days before I was supposed to start that next 6 month stint, I get a call from a GS-14 in Quantico saying, "Hey, I don't know how to explain this to you, but Sergeant Crane, you got to go ahead and get out. Best of luck." I got 3 days notice basically to vacate the base, get my honorable discharge, and peace out. No benefits, no med board, no nothing or anything like that. You got to remind everybody 6 months prior, my dreams of going into CID, I got my bachelor's in criminal justice. Like I did everything leading up to that moment. My dreams were just ripped out from underneath of me. So I start spiraling. Then here we are, and I'm thinking I've got another 6 months to transition out, get my feet underneath of me. Now you're ripping that out from underneath of me, and now I'm just completely lost. I have no idea what to do, where to go. So that's where I become the stereotypical homeless veteran, lose everything, didn't have an idea what to do, where to go. That was my transition.
Man, I know,
Yeah.
Keith. You're a all legs in one basket kind of guy.
Not anymore. I learned my lesson, but yeah, I can definitely relate with a lot of that story. Mine wasn't quite as drastic. I had more than 3 days notice. I mean, I put in my retirement packet but yeah, initially I knew what I wanted to be when I grew up. Kind of similar to you. I was going to go law enforcement. I live in Virginia Beach Police Department. Why wouldn't they want a 22-year Army veteran? And they did initially. And then like you, going through the process, we found some stuff because I was also doing all the VA claims and all that kind of stuff. And some stuff was discovered, and the VBPD was like, "Thanks for your service. We no longer want you." And yeah, I mean, I had to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up all over again. Thankfully, I didn't end up, homeless because I started while I was still in uniform. So, because again, I dropped my retirement packet. I had a year. So when I got that notification, I still had at 9 months of active duty. So thankfully for me, I still had a safety net at least for 9 more months, and I was able to during that time. I freaked out a whole lot. A lot of the gray in this beard, I think, stems from that. But after a lot of stress, I did manage to land on my feet even before I fully got retired out. So no, but I could definitely relate with the emotions, especially in the uncertainty of what in the world am I going to do now, right? Yeah, I can, and then adding homelessness on top of that, I can't imagine what that had to have been like. So yeah, like where'd you go from there?
I did what anyone else would do. I had a family and I had to provide. That's what we are just instinctually trained to do. So I go out and I just start working my butt off. I start doing anything and anything I can. And when I say I was working round the clock, I've never worked that hard in my life. not since, not prior, not during any time. That time I was legitimately waking up, going to work at a law office as a call center person, making seven. No, let me give credit where credit's due. $9 an hour. I was making $9 an hour. I wasn't making minimum wage. I was making $9 an hour. So I was doing that, making nine. I would go in from 7 to 3, and those would be my hours. I would go in and do that. And then from 4 to midnight, I would actually do undercover investigation work. So I worked with like repo companies and worked with the city of Savannah and stuff like that. I'm trying to find out different things. I drove like one of those camera cars around. And that paid me $8 an hour. I was that was some hot stuff right there. So I combined the two. I'm like 8 plus 9, that's 17. I can do math for Marines, right? So that's $17 an hour. I should be able to make it, right? I'm working 2 full-time jobs around the clock, and I'm doing that Sunday through Sunday. Needless to say, that's not sustainable at all. And then on top of that, I quickly realized, $34,000 a year doesn't really go far in the civilian sector when you also have to pay taxes. So it didn't work out. It really didn't. We scraped and clawed our way back to civilization by getting enough money together to move back to Ohio, where we are now, actually, to move back to Ohio, where we actually knew some people. We had some, houses that we could crash at. We had some couches we could bounce on. different stuff like that to get our feet underneath of us. Enrolled in college because I had to, like you said, start my life over from scratch. I went into law enforcement and then I got booted out. So now it's like, well, that degree's worthless. What do I do now? I did my research, and the only thing that I could find that would make me kind of marketable was like an MBA. So I enrolled in an MBA. I said, okay, let's see, what skills can I gain from this? And I was started working around the clock during doing that as well. So it was just a continuous cycle, and that trailed on for a good 3 years of me just bouncing from crib to crib, bouncing around to job, scraping and clawing my way back to civilization, getting my MBA and doing all these things, trying to find mentorship using platforms like Betterati, LinkedIn, all these different things, building my network, trying to do what I can. But it wasn't until 2020 that my kind of the whole story shifted for the better.
That's the resiliency and the grit just to keep going, is awesome. I mean, because at that point you probably had a lot of excuses why not to continue. But the fact that you continue to push forward and really commendable that you did that. And so now you're a doctor, and you're when we talked our first networking call, I was just phenomenal. I mean, it was like meeting a long lost friend you hadn't talked to in a while, and we had a great conversation. It was a nonstop. There was no dead space. We just kept talking about different things, and it's great to be able to connect with someone like that. But it didn't end there. Then you told me, "Hey, I'm going to connect you with a few people." Next thing you know, my email is flooded with people too, and I'm like, "Oh my goodness!" And I talked to every one of those and had amazing conversations with them as well. And it was just phenomenal. So through all your struggles, I'm assuming all this played a part as to who you are today, right? And why you do what you do. So, you know, tell us about Dr. Crane and where you are. And I just now put together Kramer. It just now hit me. I don't know why. But where did all this come from? How did you get to where you are now, to where you were helping veterans, and you pursued a doctorate and what have
So it's an accident. And funny enough, I feel like a lot of great organizations, a lot of great heroes journeys and stuff like that are really born from accidents. By no means did I transition from the service saying, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to help veterans. Furthest thing on my mind, actually. I'm going to go out there and I'm going to make a difference in the veteran community, or I might help, people transition. Not at all. Like, honestly, that was the farthest thing from my mind. It just kind of fell into my lap because I went through the trial and the tribulations. I went through all this stuff. And not to say that my story is like some glorified pedestal, like whoop whoop, look at Steven. No, it was actually the opposite. I got pissed off and I got infuriated with the more veterans I connected with on Betterati, LinkedIn, and so on. The more people I talked to, the more I realized my story is the majority of people. That is what really pissed me off because I'm like, I thought I got screwed over, which okay, yeah, I kind of did, but I thought like I was the anomaly. I quickly realized there are hundreds of veterans every single month that are experiencing the same thing I did. And I know what it did to me. I know what it did in my marriage. I know what it did across the board. Mental health. You want to talk about 22 a day? I was right there. I mean, all that.
you.
I was in a bad position. And I'm like, I consider myself to have a good amount of grit. If I struggled the way that I did, I could only imagine what other people are going through. So that kind of lit a fire under my butt to say, I need to do something about this. And the more people I started talking to, and the more I realized how easy it was to help them because we're not taught anything when we transition out of the service. And we're certainly not prepared in high school to handle financial challenges and everything like that we incur in the military. And the military doesn't really set us up outside of being a really good homeless veteran The military doesn't really set us up good to make that proper transition, other than here's a resume, best of luck. All these things kind of fell into my lap, and I was like, I actually have, I guess, a gift. I went through this for a reason. Everything happens for a reason. Everything in life has a purpose behind it, and it usually takes a couple of years to find out. Hindsight's 2020, and that's exactly what happened. I just was on a mission to try to help people. I didn't know what that would evolve into, and over time, over the last 5 years now, it's evolved into something just truly remarkable, which is ultimately the Veteran Roadmap.
That that is all, and I can completely agree with you, because that was my pathway as well. Like, I was getting out of the military, I figured the most involvement I was going to have was going to be the PX and the commissary. Aside from that, I was not planning on doing anything, and I got pushed by a mentor to start a podcast, and here we are 2 years later, and it's been a phenomenal journey, but it was never one I had planned on, and it's I'm blessed to be able to talk to guests like you that love our community and give back so much, and then work with people like Keith and Eric and Mark, who have just been phenomenal co-hosts and partners in this. And so I agree with you. Everything happens for a reason. um I love your journey. I mean, Keith, take us into the roadmap.
Well, I mean, and I love what you said, right? Like accident, but I don't believe in coincidence either, right? And some people do have a very smooth transition, and there's not a lot of stress involved, and they have something lined up, and yeah, they honestly, and no fault to that, they don't really end up giving back to the community. It's those of us that experienced what we experienced, and that's my own journey. Yeah, it's like I wanted to give back. Like I felt so indebted to the people that helped me. I couldn't pay them back, but I could go help them in the community. And I think that's, so many of us that do have that tumultuous transition, we just, we have those hearts to want to repay that back. And I love hearing your heart. I sense like even a kindred spirit, and this is awesome. So tell our audience about Veteran Roadmap, what it's all about, and what it can do for folks out there.
So truly, like I said, it was an accident in the making, and I had no idea that it was going to evolve into the Veteran Roadmap. It all started with a couple small little companies that I was just starting because someone said, "Hey, you can really help out in this area. Would you like to give it a shot?" By all means, not like I got anything else going on, right? So by all means, I want to help out and do what I can. And if you think, just like Sean, or if you think I'm good at making this podcast, if you think I'm good at doing this for the veteran community, I'm in, right? No problem. And then that company blew up. Cool. And then the next company, that company blew up. And then the next company blew up. And as I was going through all these different companies, from medical, from financial to coaching to like HBOT therapy and like all these different things across the board, I'm like, there's too many strings that are coming together. And I started taking a step back, and I was asking like different mentors and coaches, I'm like, do you see any similarities between like everything that I'm doing? Do you see like a bigger picture here? And they said, yes. I'll never forget this. Yes, but I'm gonna let you figure that out. But yes, there is. I don't think you're thinking big enough. You're thinking way too small. Take a step back, take 3 days, take a sabbatical, and really sit down, get on your knees and pray and figure out what does this all mean for the bigger scope. I was like, all right, it's a challenge. I'll see what that's all about. And out of that, I realized, oh my God, everything that I'm doing has literally been laying the roadmap of my own transition from homeless to retired in 5 years. 5 years, 5 companies, 5 journeys, 5 roadmaps that I created in myself that I went through while I was taking thousands of other veterans along the journey with me. So there have been thousands of veterans, just like Sean was talking about, $3.8 billion. There have been thousands of veterans that I have taken through my journey as I went through this journey with myself. And I never even realized it until probably about last year. when we really got the roadmap together, this is what it all culminated to, was creating a nonprofit where now, instead of having all these little silo companies doing their own thing, we have a nonprofit that umbrellas all of them together and really streamlines that process to take a veteran from quite literally being homeless on the street to retiring them and their family, building their dream home, having that sense of entrepreneurship and purpose and passion, eliminating 22 a day, and just really striving to do something bigger. That's the journey that I went through. That's the journey I took other people through. And that's now what we call Veteran Roadmap.
It's I frustrating when they tell you to figure it out, but also you can see the wisdom of it. You sitting there and actually taking that pause to link it all together. So, it, how do we use this roadmap? How, if I decide I need to use the veteran roadmap, how do I get into this, and how's that whole process work?
So, in the shortest nutshell possible, basically, I believe that the entire DOL, the VA, like everybody, has the transition roadmap backwards. I know that's a big statement to say because there's been so much research and different things done on this, but I really feel on a really deep level that it's completely backwards.
Okay.
We focus on the TAP program, as, hey, let's get you spun up on everything that it means to be a civilian. Let's get you spun up with a resume, and let's get you spit out into a W-2 job where you can find your purpose. And if a veteran has purpose through a job and employment, then they won't have the 22 a day. I believe that is like one viewpoint. That is just one narrow way of looking at the transition. I look at it from the opposite way, which is, how about we educate the veteran, and not just educate, not just here's a flyer, but actually sit down with the veteran and truly individualize, educate them on what their benefits are, how do they unlock them, and what does that mean for their family. Once they get their benefits, once they get that safety net where they don't have to worry about medical, they don't have to worry about their bills, they don't have to worry about all this stuff. Now that they can breathe, they're not ready for a job yet. Now the next portion is, are they financially actually prepared to go into their civilian life? Do they understand life insurance? Do they understand health insurance? Do they understand financial planning? Do they understand Social Security? Like, do they really understand this? And do they have a solid roadmap in place to help them achieve their goals? Because now we have a mission. Now we have a focus on, how does everything that I'm going to plan to be doing play into my future and play into the legacy of my last name? That gives them hope. Then they're not ready for a job. Now they're ready to figure out, what does it mean to be an adult? What does it mean to be a civilian? What does it mean to be me now that I've lost my sense of purpose in the military? Now that I've taken off the rank and I've taken off the uniform, I've shed the brotherhood and stuff. What now? Who am I? Now we need to help you get spun up on your health care. Why don't you take the time to go through some HBOT therapy and to clear out your PTSD, your TBIs, and get rid of that sleep apnea? Do you even know what it's like to sleep a solid 8 hours a night without waking up with night terrors? Pee in the bed literally for years and feeling ashamed as a human being, as a man, as a husband. Have you been through that? Oh, yeah, you have. How about we take care of that? Because I guarantee you, if you just hydrate, sleep, and breathe, most of your problems can be eliminated. Or at least you're going to be in a way better headspace to where finally we can sit down and have a heart to heart conversation on, do you want to start a business? Do you want to go back and be a W 2? Do you want to be a contractor? Do you want to work part time, full time? Do you want to travel? Now you can get into the career aspect, because guess what? By that point, they don't need a career. They've already got their safety net. They're already getting their benefits. They're already paying their bills. They're already in a good financial place to now where they have the privilege of saying, what job do I actually want? And not, oh my God, I need to go get a $9 an hour job on top of an $8 an hour job and slave, 80 hours a week just to maybe put some ramen on the table. That's not fulfilling. So that's my interpretation of the veteran roadmap. That's the journey that I went through. And that's what I've helped a lot of other people do, is just kind of flipping it on its head and focusing on the benefits first. And then the career aspect actually is the last piece of the puzzle.
So it's an interesting approach. It really is, because I can see a lot of wisdom in um, a lot of that, especially the financial piece. I mean, I can't agree with you more that the financial planning stuff that we go through kind of in the military, maybe you got some in school, whatever the case may be, there's so much more there. And I was lucky to have a couple sergeant majors who would at least, bring in, say, a first command rep or something like that to actually talk to the NCOs as an NCO PD to help them, understand some of the things that are out there for them, and I fortunately got into the financial side very early in my career and made sure that we were doing what we had to do. But it was great to see some senior leaders actually taking that step to bring something in, to try to educate the NCO population. And so it's interesting, Keith.
Yeah. And honestly, I'm just gonna make it personal. I'm gonna send my son your way. My son, he just got out of the Coast Guard, and part of it is, dad does this for a living. We don't want to listen to dad. So dad's, trying to give him some advice as he's getting out. And, I mean, Jesus was shunned in his own hometown too. So when he went to do his thing, so I get it. Like, and he's had some struggles. Like, he's leveraging his GI Bill right now. He literally just started school like 3 weeks ago. And he's getting a good foothold. But even just like 2 days ago, he was like, wait a second, what do I do for healthcare? Like, how does that work? And it's like, yeah, these are conversations we need to be having, bud. So, I mean, out of that, so therein lies where I'd love to ask, like, so somebody like my son, how do we get, how do these folks get in touch with you? How do they get a hold of these services that you're providing? Because they're awesome.
Contact us, go to our website, go and book a call, schedule some time to meet with me. We'll sit down, we'll go through, and we'll figure out everything that you're needing help with. And it's free, right? When they need help through that financial journey, the financial planning, it's free. And they're not sitting down with someone that's not qualified. They're sitting down with a truly qualified professional that's fully designated, fully licensed, and everything to help them for free. And I think that's the big thing that even myself, even veterans, we have this massive barrier, I guess, where we hear things that are too good to be true, and we're taught, even in TAP program, the BBB and all these different organizations come in, and they're like, if it's too good to be true, it is too good to be true, and it's a scam, and you shouldn't trust it. And it's like, not everything. Like, put an asterisk on that, please. Like, there are a lot of great people, a lot of great veterans out here that are truly just wanting to give back. There's no behind the scenes. There's no little things that we're trying to do. I'm trying to help. Like, my joy is helping other people and seeing them succeed and not have to go through what I went through. And then people always ask, well, then what's the selfish reason, right? You've got other things to be doing. At the core of it, what makes it so much better when you're doing it? And the core of it, selfishly, I can make up all these different answers, but if you really just want to get to brass tacks, if I don't have to pay as many taxes to subsidize bad decisions that you make because I set you on the right path, so be it. Right? I mean, if you want to just be if you want to be really crass about it, I don't like paying my taxes. Right? I don't want to have to pay extra taxes because you made some dumb decisions when all you needed to do was just have a conversation, get on the right path. So if you really want a financial hidden motive, there's my financial hidden motive.
Despite our best efforts, we didn't earn that Medal of Honor, so we still got to pay those daggum taxes, right? Oh, jeez. No, this has been absolutely amazing, Stephen. Thank you so much for joining us. So you mentioned the website, but for folks that maybe just want to like help out or support you in any way, shape, or form, how can folks also get in touch with you?
Honestly, they can reach out to me directly. I can't tell you how many people have my personal cell phone, and that's perfectly fine with me. Now, granted, I may not always get in touch within the first day or two, but you will be hearing from me. So, I mean, I'll just throw it out there right now, 937-308-6941. Contact me, text me, call me, do whatever you need to. I'm always happy to make some time to help out a brother or sister.
Blow it up. Blow it up.
Exactly. Well, and I was gonna say every AI bot that's listening on this just picked that number up and is selling that number to all the scammers at this point. So no.
Let's go. I got the FTC on the call, right?
There you go.
Make some money.
Yeah. Stephen, it has been absolutely amazing having you on. Thank you so much for joining us today. Unfortunately, we do have to bring it to a close. We're out of time, but this was absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for all that you're doing for our veteran community. And on behalf of the Vet S.O.S family, we'd like to thank everyone for joining us today. Make sure to follow and subscribe to us on YouTube and your favorite podcast platforms. And remember, do not drown in the sea of transition. Grab the Vet S.O.S Lifeline.